and we're on now.
Cool.
All right, we're good to go. I had to get us both live in Gamers Hub and in World.
Very
What's up,
cool.
everybody listening?
How's it going?
All right, another week in the books. This one more exciting than the last, I guess. only for price implications, but every week is exciting.
I mean, yeah, every week's pretty exciting. We always grow. That's for sure. I mean, there's never a dull day. It's just it was.
Well, I think
I mean, we're literally still mooning right as we speak. 9.3 cents. Like, yeah.
Nice.
So
I did a interview with Nuggets News, which is Alex Saunders. I don't know if you guys follow him or have followed his work.
No, I still haven't watched a whole episode, man.
He's really good. He does a lot of stuff on financial markets, and he's an Aussie, so he covers like Australian stock markets and stuff. A really interesting thing that happened, which was a short, kind of small stress test. Oops. We're echoing. Hold up, sorry.
You should be good. You sound good to me.
Oh, I'm echoing. My bad. No. What happened was he posted that interview in his private group of 2,700 members.
Okay.
So there was a lot of energy in there and activity, and I was reading a lot of the comments, obviously assisting people when they had issues, but a lot of positive comments, which for me was very surprising because I'm used to like the launch, right? And that was a bit of a hot mess. And suddenly seeing people log in and be happy with the platform, find good things to do, I was pretty excited and surprised. And a lot of them, and I can see the transition because at the start they started talking about price. And now they're like, oh, have you guys bought land, wearables? And now they're exploring that sort of a market. So he's opened the floor up to me to kind of educate them. And he said, you are allowed to you can post your videos and updates and information about this Decentraland project and NFTs in general. So I think it was a good transition for me to see, like on a small level, how one, people get interested because of price, and two, they move to assets and other more interested deeper levels of the NFT space.
Right.
So I'm going to make like a dedicated video for them and hopefully blow their minds. And just kind of give them that bridge, but also prep them to be safe if they're investing in NFTs, because you don't want to really be too much of a moon boy there. It's not one of those flip type things.
Well, I mean, kind of playing off that same point, for whatever reason, today was the day that I showed my younger brother, who's very into crypto, very into gaming, and a little bit older than probably most kids. He's 22. I showed him Decentraland and kind of walked him through Genesis Plaza, Soho, all the different things, and got his take. And it was really cool because I was FaceTiming him and kind of also walking him through in World and seeing his first reaction to everything, and then thinking back to my first reaction to everything, and seeing how, like, because when we got here, Genesis Plaza wasn't even close to what it was, right? And Soho, that stuff didn't exist. And so when I was bringing him through the galleries and all this stuff, it was like, wow, I can see the potential. Like, this is going to be great. He, I think, like, he's into VR. So he's like, well, when this goes VR, I could just see, how this is going to explode. But I mean, even just like looking at it and seeing potential, I think is great that when people come in. Now he lagged a little bit, and I still think I wish that there wasn't that kind of still choppy user first time experience, and especially because he's on like a gaming computer that can handle anything. So I hope that, that's what I say. Like, I don't know if we want 200, 300 people coming in here overnight every day, because we don't know what the platform's going to do. But just seeing kind of the general, that look in your eye when you see something for the first time and it's cool and it inspires new thought. And then he started thinking about NFTs and how he might want to get into that market, and just it all made sense to him. He was like the perfect, single user example for me to see. And it was refreshing to kind of take that step back after being so deep in it for so long and see like what someone like me feels when they see it now for the first time. I thought was really cool.
I agree. I actually had a similar experience, Nick. I had one of my friends I walked through as well, because me and him are making like a website about the platform. So I was like, all right, come on, man, I'll show you Decentraland, and I showed him the coolest parts. And he's a RuneScape, Habbo Hotel, and he's played, all these kind of cool games that have a similar type of vibe. And he was sort of blown away by the parts that had content. some of his feedback was it's lonely, which I understand, and that's something we can work on. And that's the only thing. He had no lag, which I was very surprised because he was running a 2013 Mac. But a lot of, I don't know, it's hard for me to think that sort of positivity just because I'm so used to like everyone bashing Decentraland for the first like 3-4 months, right? But I think it's time to accept that, you know, we're doing pretty good. Like there is good content here.
Yeah.
And it is pretty impressive.
Yeah, things are going well. I mean, we're finally kind of falling into our niches and stuff like that. Like, you know, I started following crypto art a lot more now. I'm starting to see other people. We just had a launch, today of a really nice gallery, the Rapture Gallery, and that was really cool. And it was one of those things where you see like the potential we have now, like, you know, multiple galleries, my gallery, Clark's gallery, Rapture's gallery, you know, the gallery in Genesis and the one in Soho, you know, and then you're like, okay, now we're really going somewhere. We got legs now, you know, because when you go into CV, there's galleries everywhere, literally every artist has their own like exhibition. It's like a artist, like a crypto artist convention, you know, and so it's not like there's not enough room for this stuff. There's still more room, you know, and that's just one angle. Iman, you already know, you guys have gaming, you know, and gaming is going to be another humongous angle of this situation, you know. Yeah. And you know, we're seeing it all kind of play out right in front of our eyes. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think just like the whole visual aspect, like of taking NFTs to that next level, like off of the 2D canvas into the 3D space, is like really what's resonating.
Yeah.
Especially with like the new people, you know. Everybody knows what it's like to play a video game. You know, I think we've all gotten addicted to games in the past, most likely.
Yeah.
But to kind of like wrap your head around an idea, like remember all those like old games and stuff, you played them out. Imagine like it's every little thing you interacted with in those games is now something you can own or somebody else owns, you know, like these are things that people will inevitably understand. Like if you're a gamer, you're not thinking like that right now. Like I talk to all of my old, you know, regular normie friends all the time about this stuff. They don't get it yet, you know, because they're not.
And even still, like I got my you know, my Pixel Buster guys that I, you know, put them on to like playing Axie, and they're really still pretty Axie centric, you know, because that's their first introduction into anything blockchain, right? Yeah. So I get Nasty Nate in here the other day. He's one of my homies, and I get him to walking around. We're walking around this place, and I'm telling him about this and that and Decentraland and what it is, and all the different potentials of, you know, whether it's NFT artwork or just gaming in general or other games and stuff. And he's starting to open his eyes and be like, oh, this is like, you know, you're really like, this is a universe, you know?
Yeah.
And that's really what we are, you know? And it's like a universe is not yet populated, which is the most awesome thing to be there that early, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. When my kids walk by and now they see, like, when I showed them Decentraland like a year and a half ago and they were playing Fortnite, they're like, what's this shit? You know what I mean? They're like this is garbage. You know what I mean? They're like, Dad, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, no, just give it some time. And they walked by a week ago when I was doing something, and my daughter was like, what's that? And I was like, this is Decentraland. She's like, oh, that's way better.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Speaking of that, I saw a little glimpse of what the Digitible building is. When is that going up?
Well, we're having, it's supposed to probably open like August 20th.
Okay.
But it's quite the build that we put on. So we're
it looks like a pretty big build, yeah.
Artist is dropping once a month for Digitible.
Yeah.
Doing like a very well-known artist who I appreciate very much. I have a lot of their work.
Yeah.
They'll be doing drops once a month for us, like kind of political things.
Nice.
Pretty cool shit.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, so Clark, Matty, you're on the ball. But I was looking for, I got a DCLCore and a DCLBlogger, but Clark, you really don't have a logo, and either do you, Franky. Like I know you when I looked on Google, you have like an album cover with a dollar bill on it.
Oh yeah.
You have like old school stuff. I think pre-crypto world for you.
Yeah.
But you have nothing other than like art that Open NFT made, I guess, or put out.
Yeah, that was.
I was trying to look for logos for both of you, and I couldn't find them.
So I'll send you some a link to a secret
Yeah, the
NFT
Franky
that I
Needles.
made. Yeah, a secret NFT that I made about a year ago now. It was like, yeah, it's the chicken thing. It was one of my songs, and it was actually the first NFT that I ever even thought about minting. I minted it on like Pixura, but yeah, we'll get that into your hands somehow.
What about the one you and Ofen just collaborated on?
He has that.
You
He
know?
has that piece.
Oh, you have that.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's crazy.
That was
So are you doing it with the one Josie uses, Azure or whatever? Because I know he teased. He made like some video.
So yeah, so basically the pieces upstairs in this building here. I guess we can walk up to it. It's up. It's on. No. What did we do? Did we do it on Mint Base? I believe we did it on Mint Base, and then if you use the Artivive app or Artivive, I don't know how you say that.
Yeah.
If you just take it and put it up to the piece, it comes alive and it starts playing the music.
Oh, that's fantastic! Because I had that for all Josie's pieces as well.
Yeah. It's a really cool thing. Like, so if even in World, like if you take your UI away and just walk up to it and start and put Artivive right up to it, it starts playing the beat. And OpenNFT made the beat. It was a really cool concept, and I'd love to expand more on that in Decentraland in the near future, using that for different things. You could use that, and we could probably collaborate with Artivive and do some things. So I think there's a lot of space there for
He made
stuff.
He made a right good piece. I bought it. It's a 1 of 1, and it's like the top of buildings.
That was super cool. Yeah, with all the different influences.
It's got all the kind of like major brands marked on top of buildings. I really like that piece.
Yeah, and actually, the MetaZone made it to that piece. They were one of the companies on that piece.
Nice. Yeah, I saw Maker's Place was on there. Yeah. DCL had a logo of voxels. Yeah, there was a couple. I like shit like that.
Yeah, it was pretty much all the people that were influenced. That influenced OpenNFT throughout his time. So.
You guys should consider, or we should all consider. So Blockchain Why Bitcoin Magazine, which was a spin-off of Bitcoin Magazine. Mm-hmm. It's owned by Bailey Media, after like Bitcoin Magazine, like Vitalik, and like Bitcoin Publishing, whatever. Okay. Bitcoin.com owned it actually. Mm-hmm. So when Bailey Media took it, when they made Why Bitcoin in 2017, they started in the magazine. They were $1, the magazines. Inside was like an 8-page fold-out map, and then it had like all the top brands in the ecosystem. Mm-hmm. And these are like killer like maps. That one dude did. There's 3 of them: 2017, 18, 19. But we should sometime in the future consider an NFT, like particular one, and get something done like that. And I don't know where you would sell it through. Like we could all sell it independently. Or like as a unit or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Like I would definitely want something like that. Especially.
Are you saying the magazine or are you saying the map, Steve?
The map itself. Like I own NFTmagazine.com.
Nice.
I wanted to do something with that eventually. I wanted to make maybe 10 issues. I don't know. I always liked like TMNT. I had like number 1 to 4. So I always liked how they put those out, and then like in the magazines, black and white, and they went to color smaller. So I wanted to make 10 issues of NFT magazine and then go digital. Just so like 10 print issues. But there's another company in Canada that made Blockchain Magazine and then Blockchain Culture, and both of them have like 2-3 issues. They were like $10 retail, and like both of them like kind of just went out of business.
Went out of business.
They did, yeah. They weren't successful.
I was thinking of starting a magazine, and then I just don't know how to do it because I used to do it before, but it used to be a digital magazine and it was on the e-commerce business, and it used to do okay, but I just didn't know whether the traffic was there to support a NFT specific or metaverse specific magazine.
Yes.
Or how to monetize. If you did a metaverse magazine, Matty, and it was an NFT itself, I think it'd do great.
Yeah, but in terms of the content, the content delivery, I guess would have to be digital. I don't know. I'm sure we can work.
If you look at Mag NFT, and I have number
Mag NFT, exactly. That's why this is the first thing I thought of. Yeah.
Totally. And then Whale Shark did like a special 1 of 1 as well. Mm-hmm. And those things are pretty cool. Now again, they're digital. They're very small. Like they're not. It's not like it opens up and you can browse through it really nice. It's like in codex. So I don't know. Just the user interface and experience isn't where it could be. Yeah. It's a good start.
You can make it a PDF like the Jose Double piece too, So,
yeah.
You could always do
Yeah,
that.
I mean, you could probably. I know Maker's Place for us when we were working on that, they support a full PDF as an NFT, and
so you could do the cover as the front,
cover,
you know,
yeah.
and then the download, like up in the right hand corner is the download, and then that would you'd be able to scroll through the PDF file.
Because if you thought about it, if you could scan, because me and Pavel were talking about it, I sold him one of my, I have two 1931 Tesla Time magazines, and he bought one of them off me, and I wanted to scan it, the cover, and then have set that as an NFT, and if you own it, you can read the whole issue. Inside, you can scan all the pages. I mean, and there's other like issues I have with Salvador Dali and Al Capone stuff on them, that if you could buy like one of 5 NFTs, kind of like what you did, Clark, with those comics, if you could buy something like that and actually look through the issue itself, like that'd be stellar.
Are you saying creating the magazine though, or scanning something that already exists?
Scanning something that already exists.
Yeah, I mean, I would never do it just because of the copyright issue.
I know the copyright reasons.
He jumps right into that lawyer mode.
Something now, I was going to say something now might be an issue. Me doing that from something that's 90 years old, I don't give a shit.
Well, no, there you probably don't.
Yeah.
Especially if you got rid of the Time logo or something like that.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
They might not like it. Yeah, exactly. Boom.
Hey Clark,
man.
the next thing you got to get, Clark, is a microphone. We got to get you into a microphone next.
Oh, does it not sound good?
Yeah, it sounds crazy. Yeah, it sounds like
it's not too bad.
Rotary phone.
I've had worse.
I don't even know if it's going through the. I'll figure it out for the next time.
Yeah. I'm joking with you. He just got the webcam, and so I'm just kind of like poking fun.
Does anyone know why the names, DCL names, kind of spiked today?
You wonder about those sales.
What did a couple sell, or is it?
A couple.
Well, just it dropped back into the top 15 almost. And
there was about 3 to 4. There was 3 to 4 5 ETH sales each.
Interesting.
I think it was something like finance, identity, and some other like normal words. But yeah, with names, it's I don't know. I just feel very iffy with those sales, just because.
The same time, I mean, they are domains, and they play the same part as a .eth. So like they're useful, but you just wonder about those big sales, you know.
Yeah. You got to look at them. I think you got to do research.
Because we know that we paid 100 mana for each one. It's hard to think that people are paying 5 Ethereum for one of these names.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that crazy to think about to me as like it being useful as a domain for real, but at the same time, I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta wonder about where these sales are coming from and going, you know.
I do have faith in names though in the long term.
I do too.
Once they become really scarce, I think they're gonna go
I'm mad
up,
I didn't jump
especially
all
when
over
there's a lot
that in
of
the
users.
beginning. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if you get 1 million people inside DCL, just the common names themselves are just like standard things that people nickname themselves.
Yeah.
Like Ninja or whatever else. I mean, Bad Boy, whatever the fuck you're gonna do.
Yeah.
I think all those things probably would be. I mean, like people will start wanting to grab those.
But I think
The marketplace has to become more robust if they want to, like, I don't know. I used to look at only DCL's marketplace, say, a year ago, and now it's, I don't know, it just makes more sense just to go to OpenSea and almost not even look there.
I agree with you.
You have to kind of entice people back into that ecosystem again with more, I don't know, robust tools and like, bidding or contacting people, and maybe have like a side bid yourselves that they're the moderator of or something.
Steve, I totally agree with you, and I think they need like a total marketplace overhaul, really, because the filter system isn't there. They need to be able to filter wearables really well and display things like supply graphs and have a reason why people spend hours on the marketplace. Because on OpenSea, I can browse for a while. But
OpenSea just had the worst update in the history of updates.
Are you? That's a huge.
Really bad. Really
Oh,
bad.
good.
Really
There's like
bad.
a downgrade. I never seen a downgrade so downgrady. Across the board, no one likes it.
Yeah, Alex or Dan said that they were working on something. And it was like it's like cause of something else. It wasn't on purpose. But I said to him, I was like, your search function is not. It's like not even useful whatsoever.
Yeah, it's.
I
It looks
do
nice
think
though, doesn't
Whoa, bad. Bad.
it's really hard to navigate.
Yeah.
I think the fact that you can't reach out to people on, just allowing a layer of I can reach out and bargain with someone on the marketplace would be
a huge deal. Yeah, absolutely. A little mailbox,
right?
You know, that goes into
right now it's Discord.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, exactly.
If you could find the person,
if you can find it, most people have 10 different names. You know, whatever. You know,
like even make an offer. I know it's harder because it's a smart contract and gas fees kick in, so you don't want to be making like 6 offers and like you do it buy it now to see when they're gonna like, you know, the lowest.
Well, even when you make an offer.
But there needs to be something else in play that you could, it's more engaging.
You know what they can do, which is really easy, is you know how you have the My Assets button and it shows you your assets, and it's kind of like your profile, right? Yeah. They can have like a message bank. So
that's what I'm saying.
You log in with you sign in with your wallet, and you have a message bank. Yeah. Simple.
Sure.
I can send a message to any single.
It doesn't sound that crazy to me. I mean, we were talking about doing something similar for the neighborhood, you know, and you know, it wouldn't be no different than doing it for the marketplace. It's just your blockchain wallet, so it's, you know.
Or when you offer, even, you know, if I want to offer 100,000 mana, but send an email address with it, or, you know, just something to be like, hey, here's an offer, but let me know if you want to talk more about it when I offer, like text with an offer. That would even be, you know, an upgrade. It's just really tough when you can't say anything to the person that you're
definitely
offering.
These are all conversations.
Is Sam lingering here? So he can
I think Sam's here. I think Nico's here. Who else is here? We're all here. You know, the community's here.
Break out the sketch pads for sure.
Shout out to the team for everything that's gone on in the last couple months. I think, you know, having seen the platform grow in the last 2 or 3 months has just been awesome with everything that they've been doing with the galleries and really bringing so many partners into DCL and kind of just, you know, lining stuff up for the future. And, you know, I think it, just like what I was saying about my brother, had I shown him exactly what I showed him in February, he would have been looking at, you know, a barely put together plaza and a bunch of grass.
Oh yeah, try it October. You know, when I met Iman and Will, you know, like the only thing to visit was their spot.
The block runner game was like the coolest thing in the whole Decentraland world.
Definitely, man. You're like grid, block runner. Whoa, like holy shit, this thing's advanced.
I always wondered whatever happened to that pig game. Like when I first heard about
Who made that?
It was like.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny you say that.
It was like a bow and arrow pig game.
That was actually the most advanced. In all reality, like beyond honesty, that thing was leaps and bounds in front of everything else. But I've never met the creator of that, and I feel like I've met everybody, and I've never met the creator of that.
Mm-hmm.
If Sam or maybe Nico knows who that was, let us know in the chat, because I have no clue who made that pig game.
Yeah.
Stefan Zhao. I've never heard of this person. Did they?
I think I do remember him posting a link to it in the contest during the contest.
Yeah.
But Decentraland's kind of like that, and I realized this because I'm not sure if you guys played Nico's game. It was like that summoning game.
Okay.
It was.
It
was like this.
Game?
Yeah, it was like this.
Run around with the head.
Yeah, you get this head, and then you have to.
That game's scary. I don't play that game no more. It scared me one time.
Dude, that was.
I like that.
It was pretty intense. Steve, did you play that game?
I did not know.
Oh, I have to show you that game because
it screams at you. I'm like, I'm all good, man.
It's totally moved away from the low poly. It's got nothing low poly about it. You walk in and it's like so realistic. It's like you look to the left, there's this green grass and low poly buildings, and then you enter the scene. And
and it like closes you in. So when you get in there, the whole forest is like you're now closed in, and all you can see is this kind of like real looking shit around you.
Steve, I have to show you this. It's so cool.
It's very cool. It's really cool, and it's scary.
It's kind of like the old PlayStation games. It reminded me of like Resident Evil.
Yeah, it has that vibe. It has that vibe because it has that like quiet until it yells at you vibe. Like, man, I'm good. Like, I'm good.
If you look at the monster, it basically moves towards you, and if you keep looking at it, like, the more you look at it, the closer to you it moves. But you have to find these things which are close to the monster, so it's kind of like strategic. It's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
I play on mute.
You know what's funny about that? You know, Toon just said that in the chat. I actually beat that in the treasure hunt, which was one of the only things I beat in the treasure hunt. So that's actually funny you said that somebody was like couldn't do the treasure hunt because of that one. Like I actually beat that in the treasure hunt. I played it after and it scared me, and I was like, you know what, I'm good with this game.
You put on mute.
Yeah.
Right? I probably should have put it on mute. I would have been much better.
I think the person who couldn't finish it had a religious issue with it. He said from
maybe.
a Christian.
That's right.
Jeez.
There were some definite like satanic looking things
Yeah.
in there.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, if it's
Had,
supposed
like,
to
a
be scary,
summoning
it's supposed to be
circle,
scary,
it was
right?
crazy.
Don't get in your emotions about
It was so nuts.
And like
But that
cancel
adds to
culture
the-
on
the-
some
the
shit that's supposed to be
atmosphere.
scary.
So cancel culture, that's right.
It's for real, yo.
That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, so mana going up is an exciting thing.
Mana going up
one
is great.
because I think, and I'm a moon boy sometimes on Twitter, but it's because I'm happy that a lot of the early investors are getting wealthy because a lot of them would put a lot more money and time in the ecosystem. And that like accelerates it quicker. Because for me, if I have like money to play with, suddenly I can hire like some teams to build content. I can build more venues, hire a proper dev guy, etc., etc. And another thing is that the 22 million mana pool per year becomes now it's sitting at like 2 million USD they have per year in funding. So imagine all the creator comps that we can run, you know, with $100,000 creator comps, we can run like 10 of them now, along with so many proposals we can approve with people wanting to build things. So that's what gets me excited about a high mana price.
And Matty, do they hedge when it's like spiking like this? Do they right now like go into? Unfortunately, I hate them, but do they go into like a stable or USDT or something like that to hedge in case it does drop back down to like 5 cents?
Decentraland.
Yeah.
I'm not with the DAO fund.
No.
I think the DAO fund is just the mana, right?
And I think it's tied up in a vesting contract. I don't think
Yeah.
it comes out without the smart contract initiating.
Yeah, it's 22 million mana per year.
yeah,
So the lowest
it's
that's ever been
investing.
is about 600k when mana was like 3 cents, which is still a pretty decent amount to give for community.
Did anyone see or buy or own mana when it was 25 cents?
You mean 2.5 cents?
Yeah, when it was 25 cents. Well, like it was a quarter at one time.
Oh yeah. I wasn't around for that. I was
Yeah, I
like doing
missed
the
that
land
as well.
auction. Yeah.
I got in around like 12 or 14 cents.
Really?
It would just be
Full
like getting into Bitcoin at
disclosure.
20.
Yeah, that's when I got into Bitcoin at the wrong time too. So that
Man, that's great.
it's been nice to see it slowly creep back up. But.
Yeah.
No, but the point you make is an interesting one, Steve, because I think there is a realistic situation where, you know, Decentraland becomes a big thing, but mana may not be the focus forever, right? So the idea of hedging some of that or having it more diversified, you know, to protect some of the value at times when mana does go up. I think when the DAO kind of comes out, I don't think every dollar of the 22 million mana needs to be spent. I think, you know, having a reserve would be a really smart use of that DAO fund for fluctuation. If there is a high time, you know, putting that in a stable coin once it vests and is distributed, I think that would be really smart because I mean, we really don't know what 3 to 5 years is going to hold for the market.
The problem with that is that you really don't know what a high time is. I mean, we can call this a high time until it turns into $1, and then you're like, wow, that was not a high time, you know?
Right.
So
And that's kind of the hedging strategy.
Burn.
yeah, you know,
Like, you mean
because
where
we're
they held-
consistently burning mana, so, you know,
And then they were like their tits up when each hits like $1.80. You mean the ones who did hedge and get BTC or maybe even in fiat, unfortunately, some of those weathered that like 2-year shitty storm, and the other ones like just couldn't deal
it's
with
true,
it.
yeah, you're right, though, yeah.
And in that sense, you know what I mean? I know it's always good to just not have everything, you know what I mean, in one basket.
Yeah, you're right,
True,
Steve. Yeah,
true,
for sure.
yeah.
And I think that's something we can decide on the DAO. I think that'd be pretty cool to do.
That's actually a good,
Just like
yeah, that's
where
a good
allocate
use
a
of the
percentage
DAO,
of those
yeah,
funds.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Yeah. We
I mean,
will feel
funny-
safer as a community as well because
Yeah.
suddenly we're not just so focused on the mana coin, right?
Right, yeah. I mean,
Hey, do you know what I find amusing? So EOS today, when everyone was buying the Blockchain Heroes cards, EOS did exactly what Ethereum is doing. EOS
oh my
took
God, I was so...
forever
I
to go through. Most of the transactions failed. Some of them didn't confirm.
got
So
one pack, Steve.
there's like 800 of us all buying those cards, and that did that to EOS. You know what I mean? Like, and they're kind of on at what ETH is going through right now.
Yep.
They have a world of hurt coming. If
Yep.
they ever remotely get to like 1/10 of ETH scale,
Right.
They'll just crash.
100%. Because me and Interact, we're sitting there, we're trying to buy packs, and I got one, and then he wasn't able to get any. And this is like, we're like, this is the Ethereum killer or whatever you want to call it. Like,
And again,
that's a baby amount. That's not even a Decentraland amount of traffic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did anybody like explain why that was happening from the EOS's end?
They said
Did
it was
anybody
too
know?
much. They said, you know, it was
But
too
again,
much.
they only had like 4,000 packs to sell. Even if there was 10,000 people, that's only 10,000 people. Like during the ICO boom, there was probably like 80,000 people.
That's what I'm saying.
You mean like a minute doing that? So
Shit, when we had wearables like selling all the time, we had more traffic than that.
yeah. So yeah, you can see how, I don't know, ETH is a lot more robust than any of its competitors are trying to boast to be.
It's easy to say that you're a lot faster and yada 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 when there's nobody on your thing, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
When there's no crypto kitties crashing your shit, you know. When shit like, you know what I mean, like when there's not 60 or whatever, way more than 60, hundreds of dApps on your shit, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. It was actually very eye opening today with that, and I was glad I got out of there with one. I was like, whoa, that one
flooded itself.
was that.
If you go to like blocktivity.info, that shows like all the actual blockchain activity of every blockchain, and EOS is always number one by a huge margin.
Now, but isn't that for very micro transactions?
Yeah, they're like spammed transactions.
That's
They're not
the
like
thing.
real
So, yeah,
transactions.
I mean, like there's a shit ton of little wee things going on, but what happens if you want a whole bunch of important shit going on with that non-important shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Then
so
like
there's
DeFi.
some kind of
yeah.
So then
Yeah,
it's not an accurate representation. Like whatever they're promoting is like their transaction capacity.
Again,
Right?
I mean, their marketplace, they're the only thing. I don't use Steam personally, but their marketplace is pretty much the only thing that's remotely comparable to anything that Ethereum offers. So at least in that sense, like they're not completely off the ball. They have some work to do to catch up, like lots of work to catch up to what ETH offers. But again, like if little projects like one little card thing, crash it. It's like
the crypto kitties
probably
thing.
30 times that like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So that says volumes.
I'm wondering how much side chains like Matic will be able to relieve some of the stress from the main chain once some of the bigger like DApp projects start moving over. And I wonder if you'll start to see kind of the benefits, not just of being able to use those chains, but it kind of freeing up space on the ETH chain for things that wouldn't be really right for a side chain. And I'm kind of curious to see, because we're kind of still in this phase where NFTs are so new, these metaverse projects are so new, DApps are so new, and so the solutions are kind of rushing to solve these big problems that we're seeing. But I really do feel like in a year we're going to have much better solutions to these problems, because everyone is coming at it from so many different angles. Frankly, because there's such a huge incentive money-wise to solve these.
You got to figure it out because there's so many people. Right. It's the only topic of conversation. Hey, what's up? You seen gas prices today? Yeah, gas prices suck. I haven't been able to do shit today. And that's the first start of every conversation I have.
They don't even know how many goddamn ETH are out there. All the maximalists are all over us today.
Damn Bitcoin maxis.
I don't have much conversations with those people. I'm very ETH-centric for sure.
Yeah, I'm in some groups that it's heavy maximalists.
I bet.
And today there's tons of chatter about, like, even Vitalik doesn't know how many coins there are. And they're all over him for that. I'm sure Twitter's going to be very colorful.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's a good time, man. It's a good time right now. Everything's kind of like happening. It's all the things that I expected to be happening. See, I come from I'm not that long ago. I'm like a baby, in crypto.
Same.
And I feel like all the stuff that I heard about, I'm starting to see now. And but I've been trained. I feel like all you guys from the past, that have been involved in crypto longer than me, are training me to be ready for this kind of stuff. So I'm like,
I'm glad Steve's with us because Steve's taught me a lot. He's kind of
me too.
injected a
That's
lot
what
of like
I'm
art
alluding
and
to Steve's
historical
and,
knowledge in me,
and people like that. Yeah.
You put me through the art rabbit hole, Steve.
Me too.
Especially with those coins and the knowledge on the coins. I was wondering why people are collecting these. I guess just
What
for me,
coins?
they were just images
Matty?
and gifts that you could just mint. Huh?
Oh, those coins.
No. The physical coins back in the day.
Oh,
I
okay,
forgot
okay.
what they were called.
The crustaceans.
Yeah,
those
them.
things. Yeah.
But what I was saying is, for me, art didn't make sense originally because for me it was just like pieces of images that I thought, once there's thousands of artists, surely these are not going to be worth much because there's no cap. But what I didn't realize is each artist is the one that defines his own trajectory. So it's like you're investing in the artist, not the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I didn't get it at first either. I showed my cousin around NFT blockchain stuff, and he was the one. He was like, Frank, this art shit, man, that shit was popping. And I was like, probably like 9-10 months ago. And I was like, cuz I don't know what to do with that. And then when I started talking to Steve more is when I really started to catch on. And so I said, I gotta like do, I'm not gonna be just stuck buying wearables and being a Decentraland person. Not to say I love Decentraland. I love doing what I'm doing, but I started kind of venturing in, learning more about art stuff and meeting more of the artists. That's really what did it for me was becoming more friends with like the artists in the community. Like started being a part of the whale community and like this like lingo that you kind of understand now, and you're like, okay, I see what's going on here. I want to be a part of this. So.
Steve, you collect. I was gonna ask you to give your take on it because I think it's interesting for someone who's done it forever. So.
What Whale did is like so Whale's like the first one who launched like an NFT fund riding off like all these platforms. He just buys and sells, and we can transparently see the vault.
Yeah.
So like that's killer. Like
yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking things like that on eBay back in the day. Like what if there was like 10 of us that would buy all these expensive, crazy collectibles that we'd outbid each other on all the time. We were driving up the prices without knowing it before we knew each other. And like if we knew each other, we would have been like, no, dude, take that one, and the next one, like I'll take. So I like art itself. When I started seeing it, I was like, well, shit, this is a one of one. And I saw Josie's, and Josie was selling her physical pieces for $250 at Consensus 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought like 7 of her pieces. I bought all the pieces she had there,
Mm-hmm.
and then about 6 months later, she goes, "You get NFTs with them." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And she was like, "They're just free. They automatically come with whatever number you got."
Mm-hmm.
And so she sent me them, and I was like, "Fuck, these are beautiful." So I was like, "Really cool, man." And then she's like, "Yeah." So then eventually she started being like, "Okay, Steve, so I have a print," and I was like, "Well, I want the NFT by default. Of course, I'll take it." And then now I'm like, "Joe, I don't have any more room in my house for your prints because I have like they're in my kids' rooms now." And so I was like, "Josie, man, I can't have any more." I was like, "I just want my NFTs down." And again, like, so I used to pay $250 for all of her pieces. Any physical piece was $250.
Yeah.
And now, like, the last NFT I bought in the auction was 12.3 ETH. And so, like, that would, if she came to me and said my print's gonna be $1,500, I would have been like, I don't know about that. So with the NFT, I don't think twice. With the
it is such a crazy space, yeah.
Up to like,
Whale Shark had made a real good point about in an interview. I think he was talking with Easy one day, and he was saying, he's like, think about like 5-10 years from now, right? When everybody has screens all over everything, they're not gonna have like frames on their wall. They're gonna have screens on their wall, and the screens are gonna be occupied by NFT artwork.
App, when all like 8 art platforms all have that app, and just your TV.
Your
like
TV just scrolls, yeah.
Any screen,
and your collection is gonna be like your, that's gonna be a flex.
Especially with its AR and VR and all those crazy things happening.
Like if you had a crazy like Playboy club with like all this fucking art like around you, beautiful. Like it'd be such a cool experience.
Yeah.
Steve, are you in the same? Because the best explanation I've given or I've heard and kind of adopted myself for why Matty's question of like why digital art when you can just have the GIF, you could just have the JPEG, and you could display that in exactly the same way that you're describing. Is it kind of just it stems back to your artist is actually authenticating that version? You can trace it back to the artist.
And again, like most of the artists that I like Prometheus a lot. He's in the Metaverse Minds group. He doesn't ever chime in, but he's in there. And I have a lot of his pieces. He He's done some Ross pieces, some Silk Road, some like Mark Carpellis, Mount Gox pieces, and I love his stuff. And knowing that I have a one-of-one, the whole world can see it, and every single person can put it in CD or DCL. But knowing that I have it, if someone wants the one that Prometheus himself knows that I have, and that we've talked about in personal chats, and like calling Josie and being like, "Hey Josie, I just found like this other thing in your art." Like that to me, I could never do that in the physical art world typically. And in this world,
to me, it has a lot to do with like you can verify it down to the date. Like for instance, I've collected a bunch of actual Steve's art, right? It's because like I know when he started making
trash art. I know that.
Was that?
But I'm just dabbling in.
No, I understand, but it's more about who you are and why I have it, and like what date I got it at. So it's like it's an important thing to me because I'm like, I got Steve's art so early because nobody even knew he was making art.
Yeah.
You know?
And even sometimes, like when there's big pieces that come up, I will bid on them. Pablo does it. Colby does it. We bid on them because history's a log of this early work for these masterpieces, like these Mona Lisas. We'll have our names attached to them as bidders, and that's important to me.
You guys are so deep into this. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like a showcase for blockchain technology. Like the art industry really ran with it and just showed like it's like a true real world application for it that
and there's another thing understand. Too is that I think that Decentraland is going to start to be where we find 3D art pieces. Like that the 3D art pieces is the next thing. We've been talking about that, Matty. Like
Carlos has been putting those together, man. The super rare.
Man. And we're going to be a place where you can display them. Like with only a certain amount of triangles you can have in Decentraland, but that might even become an like a art style in itself, and something I might even be exploring myself. But like learning a lot about Blender and shit like that. It's like being able to do kind of crypto art right here in Decentraland, right in front of you, actually on the blockchain. So this is we're in a place like we kind of like. We have this like thing in front of us. It's pretty cool.
For me, like with the art scene, it made sense. It started to make sense. But for me, what it really clicked with is having 3D art as, I guess, decorative pieces around my spaces in Decentraland. So suddenly I have these monuments that I own because they're a token, and they also promote the artist. And then I'm also running conferences and cool events around that area. So one, it looks good because of the art around it, which I own, and two, the utilities there, so everyone come and check it out. So the whole ecosystem that I've invested in grows at once.
And even that was like when I was showing Clark around here, the building that we're in right now, right? He's talking about how he's like, like the NFTs that I have on my wall, they don't blow up the same way as if I would take this dollar that's on my wall, but I could make it the whole wall, mad detailed if I wanted to. But I couldn't do that. But what's so dope about that thing that's on my wall is that's the actual piece. So when you click on it, you're clicking on the actual piece. So this stuff is like, I don't know. It just has a different kind of tangible value.
I don't mean to veer off from DCL, but I have to say what Somnium's doing with art and just the whole VR video experience and being able to like go in the Sphere art bubble. And
I see that a little bit in the metaverse.
Like spherical 3D fisheye piece of yours. Like that's pretty intense. I have to give it to them. Like between Pablo himself with the Mocha and Colby and whatnot, and with him and what Artur's doing. Like I know if art does blow up huge, and that's like one of the mass adopting factors. Then Somnium Space, like they have a really, really good head start.
It's a really cool concept. Yep.
I mean, I kind of, I'm also big VR. I like VR. I think it's an awesome technology, and I think it's going to drive, to be the next big paradigm shift in our future, frankly. And I think DCL is just, taking a different approach to VR, kind of building the platform and the community first, and then eventually migrating to VR. My understanding is it's still very much in the plan for the future, and I'm excited for that. Because I think the reality is we're going to move away from 2D virtual worlds pretty quickly once VR becomes more mainstream. And I think we're probably about a year or two away from, the horizons of the world coming out and making VR a lot more mainstream. So I mean, it's going to be kind of a adapt or survive type of thing. And I agree that, I mean, Somnium's getting a pretty good, head start, but they're probably also encountering a lot of the issues that come native with VR that, I probably don't know as much. I definitely don't know as much about Somnium.
I think what Somnium's done is, I think they've focused.
Their problem, if they were a native Quest app, they would have so many more users. It's because you need the Rift, you need a gaming PC, and that changes the dynamics.
Yeah.
Why I bought Quest is so me and my kids can mission around our pad wherever we want, not have to be idle, taxed somewhere. So I don't know, that's a deterrent for me.
You can't use a Quest with that?
No, you need a Rift cable, and then you need to be hardwired.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he's working on some sort of compatibility with the Quest, right?
I think of course Archer is, but I don't know how quick that's going. And then also because of Horizon, I believe Oculus, Facebook in general, is trying to block those apps because, of course, they don't want them to market before Horizon does.
Yeah.
So I think that's another issue of getting it in the storefront, even if it is ready for Quest.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a pretty interesting. I mean, the lawyer in me goes, that's antitrust violation. But they can't do that. But that will be interesting to see because of what you just said, how Facebook handles being the hardware provider of the biggest, VR hardware, and potentially once Horizon releases.
It almost goes back to Clark, like that the hearing they just had where they were grilling them about being like the kings of the world,
Yeah.
And can y'all stop being the kings of the world a little bit? Can you spread anything? Jeez.
But I mean, we do have a head start. I mean, just understanding this and understanding how it's expanding and the niche that we're in and just the niche that is crypto. I mean, when you look at, it may occupy a niche as to bigger platforms that may come out like Horizon and whatnot. But, cryptocurrencies and the crypto market is a niche as to, general finance and fiat currencies, and still flourishes and survives and caters to a very large segment of the population. So I think there's really room for it all to grow. But I think the best projects and the ones that really are going to flourish are going to be the ones that kind of embrace these changes in mainstream technology and incorporate the best parts of it, but still allow people to kind of do the things that are so important to decentralization and to, the cryptocurrency market and having the best of both worlds and the talent.
I think ownership is going to be a big deal too, where, you're not, no way Facebook is just going to let you own a bunch of your own shit. Outright.
No.
Totally outright, get the fuck out of here. No chance. You know what I'm saying? So the ownership is a big deal. And also, we talk about it a lot when I do DAP World with a bunch of the homies. It's like the community, man. We have a certain kind of community around here where we coexist well. And, when you open this thing up to just any old random everybody, what's going to end up happening is a lot of just nonsense, like trolls and arguments and political nonsense, and it turns into something completely else. And I think
that's just the nature of growth.
I know that's the nature of growth. I know what you're saying, but I'm saying when you just dump how many billions of people, 2 billion people, something like that.
Oh, right, yeah.
When you just dump 2 billion people onto a platform, watch what happens.
Now, see, the best case scenario is those 2 billion people go in there, like it, realize they have zero rights and nothing is theirs, and then because they've experienced that world and want to stay in a world similar, and our worlds are built out good enough to make it almost seamless to jump into ours and own and have ownership.
Right.
That's always
get 2 billion people.
Yep.
2 billion people get exposed to the technology, and then 10 million come to us, and this becomes a whole different thing that we're talking about.
Because we'd be talking.
Well, the whole blockchain community is very anti-Facebook anyway.
Well, they are, and it'll be like Microsoft. Microsoft wasn't better than Apple. They just did it right and screwed everybody over. So they were the default that you had to use. It took 10 plus years, but Apple beat them, and then look at them now. It's a joke. Apple dominates Microsoft. It would be the same thing if you introduce people to the technology, they like it, and eventually they'll find the best solution for themselves. And of course, that's decentralized.
I think it's part of the transition for people becoming more tech savvy is that Facebook bridge, or the Horizon bridge, and then through that, like you said, you know,
you have to think about Facebook. Like Facebook is really now for an older audience. Instagram would be for anyone, you know, like millennials and whatnot.
Oh, even Instagram is becoming older, man. Like now it's TikTok.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, and then TikTok's gonna be banned, so they gotta find some other shit now.
Yeah.
TikTok's playing crazy, like in different waters now.
I would love to use TikTok for business stuff because there's so many like blockchain business accounts there, and they have pretty decent followings. But I just don't like it because of the data stuff.
Is anyone on Float? Float.io? It's
no.
Like a social. I just Kingsley and Aaron from Las Vegas are kind of like they started it, and it's a decent. It's building in as far as like their user base.
Do we have a decentralized like social media platform?
They're out there.
A couple like Byte. There was also. Well, yeah, Cent.
It's Cent, right? Yeah, Cent would.
Voice is on EOS, but I've never used it personally.
Yeah, I tried to
we need some sort of a social platform where you can upload videos and images and you own them because they're NFTs. And this like you can click your profile and chat. We don't have something like that, do we?
No, that's a good call. But like Peppa was like that, but there's not the tokenization factor in there.
I think the tokenization is what like the NFT integrating of the multiple NFT industries we have to these singular platforms is like the draw. It's what Decentraland is doing. It's what like a social media platform
every post. Imagine that, like you minted every post. And it costs you gas to mint it.
That's I think the thing.
Watching what you say. Right? What's that?
Or it's on a side chain like Matty,
right? Chain, yeah, definitely on a side chain.
Like half a cent, and it's happening really quick. I mean, that's what you need. You would need the back end support from the chain that could support it.
I think Cent is on its own chain, right, or something similar like that. Like Cent is like it uses its own Cent thing, and
what is it? Axie? Is it Axie that's creating their own?
Yeah, they're getting something called Ronin. Yeah, they're creating their own chain.
I saw the one talk, and he was mentioning that was the plan.
That they need it more than almost anybody because they have so many microtransactions and a big community, so they need it bad.
I mean, has it actually crashed lately, or does it?
No, it's not crashing. It's just the fact that like. The way it's set up, like you're supposed to be able to breed and like sell your Axies and stuff. And right now, like breeding is almost impossible with 90 and 100. Like it costs you $20 to breed a single Axie, and then you wouldn't want to sell it for $20. You'd want to sell it for 25, 30, 50, whatever. And you know, so right now it's like a weird economy thing going on. And like just recently, SLP spiked again, which is the breeding token, which is not supposed to really be spiking. It's very weird things going on right now with Axie. It's just because.
But I have to hand it to Axie. They like the gameplay and the interacting with the marketplace is quite flawless.
Yeah,
and they run on Loom at the moment. They still run on Loom.
Yeah, and
so there's no fees attached, right? So you can trade stuff, you can list things for free, you can play the game effortlessly.
Listings
on Loom.
You can't.
Maybe no, you can. I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely not. No.
They're gonna have to get off Loom soon because Loom's like moving away from sidechain.
Yeah, but no. You still can't list anything for free. No.
Really?
Yeah. Oh no. No.
But is it expensive? They're not paying the gas fee that we are, right?
I'm paying gas fee. Yeah, I'm paying.
Really?
What
about land items and stuff?
I don't list anything. I don't list anything. For the most part, I mean, I don't list too much anymore because of that. I have a whole bunch of Axies that I don't list because of I just kind of moved away from Axie because of the gas prices. I'm like, I'll get back to it. I have a bunch of pretty valuable birds and stuff like that.
Well, maybe they've disconnected it from Loom because I do remember listing stuff, and I'm going to list something right now, and I just remember there not being a fee attached to it.
It could be. Try land right now. See if it works.
I am doing it right now.
All right.
I think kind of what we saw, kind of bring it back to Decentraland with the wearables, is the gas is important, right? Because microtransactions in these platforms and really in games of the past, part of the fun, a lot of people's excitement in the game is, making the cents on the dollar, making a trade, making a little bit more on the next trade, and that's how a lot of people played these games, and that's what drummed up excitement. And so, yeah, sure, when you're talking about wearables right now, and the fact that like probably the average price, I don't know what it is, but I would say the average price of a wearable's got to be, $8 to $10 even for the cheap ones. You can afford to do the gas transactions, but as more wearables come into the market, and as you've got tons and tons of wearables and supply to support demand, I think part of the excitement is going to be just trading that stuff and buying and selling and wheeling and dealing. And I think for that you need microtransactions. So my understanding is we're working on Matty integration, and that's great. And I think that a lot of people keep asking me, why are we seeing no wearable selling? It's you had an ice bucket thrown on the fire of wearables.
Literally.
Gas went through the roof, and but I think it'll come back. I think it'll come back because it's really every other game has had that in it that has wearables, and part of the excitement. I know it's what I used to do, and
I definitely miss
I just
it. I know
listed the land piece.
Is it land? It's okay. Yeah, I'm doing it too. Yeah.
Dude, there's zero issues, frictionless.
Yeah. It's the land, but not the axes themselves.
Okay.
Yeah,
so there must be Well, that's something we need, right? Because it was listed with no money attached.
Yeah.
Click of a button and
Definitely.
within 5 seconds.
Yeah, but I can't I can't readjust the price of an axie without having to pay gas.
Maybe it's the buying. Maybe if someone buys it from me.
No, it's not
maybe
that.
something
It's because the axes aren't on the sidechain. It's because the land is and the items.
Right. No, I'm saying maybe for the land, when someone buys the land, do they have to pay gas? Like for me, it's free because I'm listing it, but maybe they have to pay the gas.
Transaction,
you pay the gas. You pay the gas when you put it, because you buy the loom. You buy the loom ETH. Remember? So when you got the loom ETH, you paid the gas.
I don't think so, because it didn't get me to confirm anything. It got me to confirm the listing, but it didn't say
No, not your listing. When you bought the loom ETH in the first place in order to buy the land, you paid gas.
What's the loom ETH? Is it like a wrapped ETH token or something?
Essentially.
No, it's just ETH, but it's sent to the loom address. So you got your ETH address, and then you have your loom address. And then
same idea as
it's like a separate place your Ethereum sits to.
And that's the side channel itself.
Yeah.
That loom wallet.
So you pay a gas fee for that part, and then
once off. It's
you're right. You're right. Yeah, 100%.
It's a once off, and then you do your buying and selling of your items and lands and stuff, and then you pay. Well, I pay nothing for that, I believe, and then once we have to draw that money back to the main chain. It's like the only 2 transactions I need to make.
Yeah, it's when items I think are minted to the side chain, I think that is what the side chain opens up, right? And I've kind of heard this in the context of Matty when talking about wearables with people. I think there will be some potential gas involved in migrating to a side chain if that ever happens, from what I understand.
Yeah.
But there probably are other solutions that are being worked on. I just wonder, Matty, you said something before. I wonder if it would be easy enough to kind of adopt that OpenSea system where if listing an item doesn't actually cost any gas. I don't know how they achieve that technologically, right? I'm sure someone will tell me it's not possible here. But it seems like a no-brainer. If it's possible, do it, right? Like the less gas we have to pay, no one here is benefiting from that. Everyone benefits from more items being on the marketplace. So, if we can figure out a way to make gasless listings, that would be great to have in the DCL marketplace. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's my little list there. Okay. So yeah, mine went up, no gas. Yeah. But again, I'll pay. If I wanted to, let's say I sold that, then I would pay the gas on the way out to get that, to get that ETH back.
So I guess anything else you guys want to talk about as far as like community events that you participate in, or?
I'm trying to think, man. I had the whales thing go down. I don't know if you guys even know about that.
Whale.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
So Whale Shark put out this group if you hold 500 whale, you get involved with the whales group, and you can like be in this chat with Whale Shark and kind of, I don't know, it's like a group of us. It's a really good networking opportunity, and there's also he gives out, I think it's 5,000 whale for the month to the group. So it's like, spread amongst the members. I can't remember how many members we have now. It's like I'm gonna say the wrong number. Not even maybe somebody in my chat can help me out. 54.
I really love what Whale's doing.
Crypto Joe, 54. Pow.
Break it down for me if you can, Franky or Matty. I don't understand at all what's going on with the whale thing.
Yeah, so whale token is based on the price of was generally based on the price of the NFTs that are in the vault, and the vault has essentially a bunch of really rare NFTs and really rare digital art. A lot of
on fungible.com, it's got a breakdown.
Exactly. Yep.
Audit.
Every month they do an appraisal.
He has 1,500 sandbox lands.
Mm-hmm.
He's got like hundreds of super rare things. He's got a shit ton of Gods Unchained.
He has at least 2,000 to 3,000 ETH worth of Gods Unchained alone.
Yeah.
And then
it's actually I think from like what I saw, I think it was like the last time they had appraised it went up 40% from that point.
First one was like 1.3, I think, and that was like based on the cheaper ETH prices before art started kind of popping a bit.
What does the token itself like represent? Like your ownership?
No. Whale token is kind of just like a social token that you can invest in or buy, and then he gives utility to that by I think eventually you can vote on things maybe. But it's like
that's an eventually thing. It's not right away. But for the time being, all the things that he buys goes into the vault, and then like that vault can bring that's what the value of the tokens are. There's 10 million whale tokens,
the tokens are backed by the assets in the vault.
By the assets in the vault.
So you purchase the tokens, you're basically buying a piece of whatever's in the vault. So suddenly all these people that own this ERC20s, they feel like whales because they own whatever the value of that vault is. So as the vault increases in value, we
all benefit from
and they all mesh together to try and promote that whole space really. So it's actually pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
Kind of like unifying the whole NFT space.
Yeah.
A lot of people are taking out OpenSea as another payment form. And
that's another thing is it kind of like rewarding each other in our community about like somebody might come out with an NFT piece, say hey I want 25 whale for this, and people will buy it off of that person. They're like hey I'll do that, or people tip each other. We all tip each other in whale. Somebody does something like hey there's a tip. So it's kind of
it like functions as a stable coin, but it's not a stable coin.
Not at all. No.
Man.
That thing's up like $2. It went from 26 cents to $2 in a couple of weeks. So it definitely doesn't operate like a stable coin. James.
Hey James.
Oh, and audio is connecting. Yeah.
How's it going?
What's happening, James?
Hey man, sorry I meant to connect about an hour ago.
It's all good, man. Yeah, we're just hanging out, man. We're talking whale right now, but we're just hanging out.
What's been happening on your side of the Decentraland?
How's it looking,
town,
James?
Like pretty crazy times. It's been like a lot of kind of like head down in development, but it's like events month, so I've got like a whole string of events in the calendar for like August.
Nice.
It starts on Monday, so there's like a show and tell for the university, and which is like a demonstration of what I demoed to Franky a couple of weeks ago.
I know. I can't wait. I cannot wait to see this. Like for other people to see this.
And then afterwards we thought we'd have like an AMA, so like just like jump onto an audio channel so anyone can just sort of pitch questions about the university, because we don't often have these kind of district discussions. So Monday is that, so we'll see how that
I'd love for more districts to host events, start running events. That calendar should really be full at this stage by them just kind of hosting an event every once.
Like today is like a full scroll There's like
Really? Nice.
Today was good. Yeah, today was a good day.
yeah,
for sure.
today's one of the best it's been I've seen yet.
Yeah.
Other than the moonshot, we need to get more of that.
Yeah.
Favorite event.
I'm hounding Bence. I'm like, Bence, man, I have like 3 games for you to develop. And he's doing a lot of work for Decentraland, but we need someone like Bence who can just make these beautiful games. I would love to kind of accelerate that space.
Yeah,
even
you know what it
game
is,
he
Matty.
made.
It's just the money to how do you call it? Persuade the people like Lestrom and stuff like that to come back around and start doing stuff. You know, because
I
Bence
feel like
Bence
Bence
couldn't do it
gets
all himself. There's no.
Bence gets funded by Decentraland. He's part of the
That's
creative
fine,
team.
but he's only one person. He only has 24 hours in a day. You know, like he can't.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
There's
So-
plenty of funding available. I mean, if we had the right people, I think.
I was thinking what they should do is kind of pull Bence out and try and get him to manage a team instead of getting him to do all the nitty gritty, because someone else could do the 3D modeling and then he can kind of be the mastermind behind piecing it together. And he would be able to make more games that way, right?
Yeah. I think there's definitely like a team would be great, but again, like you know, it definitely
more money.
Exactly.
I honestly don't think money is an issue in the sense of providing funding for that to happen. We all want it to happen. The DAO will fund that. Decentraland will fund that. I will fund a bit of that if that's.
Yeah, but I think that like
I just need like the talent needs to be there to make that.
See, what happens is we're at this point now, but when we were in game jam time, when a lot of these kind of devs were around, this stuff wasn't a thing. So like I talked to Lestrom the other day. He had to take off because he was like, they ain't paying like that. They ain't coming out of pocket like that.
One of the rules,
one
of the rules in computer systems in the general, when it comes to like innovation and doing new things, it's like you can't, a mother can produce a baby in 9 months, but 9 women cannot produce 9 babies in 9 months, because basically at the end of the day, there's certain things. And if you take someone like a Bensei, like there's still an art to Decentraland at the moment. The process of development's not quite refined. There isn't like this best practice way of just kind of building out a multiplayer game. That space, there's like a lot of innovation to do, and I think that a person like Bensei can do it because he's a full stack guy. He can jump between all the different layers of development to create that holistic view. It's really hard to scale that up into a team. I think he could do it. I think people can do it. But it's a big jump as a developer to go from hands-on, knowing you can deliver something like Moonshot, to becoming hands-off with the confidence that you could instruct 5 people to make 5 Moonshots, because that is not necessarily, because it might actually be in a lot of actual cases that it still takes that special person to usher each thing. I come from an environment in banking, and in the area I was in FX development, where development had to happen super fast, and as a result, as it tended to be full stack all-rounders who could do everything, who they hired. So you could own a problem from start to finish, so the business could hound you. They knew that this guy knows what he's doing, he'll get the problem solved. Whereas as soon as you've broken that up and you're in different line there's a lot more complexity. It's where Decentraland has to get to, but equally, I reckon the way forward is a person like Bensei can define the mold of games. So the next thing he's working on will be another piece of genius, and then there'll be another piece of genius after that. Other people ride those coattails who don't have his genius, but they'll be able to look at what he does,
to take the instruction,
and they'll have the confidence. No, it's possible.
I also think beyond his genius, I think, kind of going to Matty's point, that he's a developer, and his genius is the ability to develop things and to adapt them to the platform and to create something great. But now we have a product that we've seen was great, Moonshot. Someone else needs to be involved in taking that already created idea mainstream, bringing it to the community, creating events around it, creating a DCL soccer league, running a weekly game, all this stuff. We need to be supporting these developers in the business sense, in the marketing sense, because that's not their stuff.
I agree.
And so when we have something great, we should prop it up.
It's true, but you will find though that I think that there are quite a few very entrepreneurial-minded developers in Decentraland, and Bensei might be one of them, who is commercially savvy as well, and he's very young, so he can grow, and it might be at his pace. He could, if he was given some support around Moonshot, and actually maybe some development resource. Maybe he can, for example, to automate a tournament and that type of thing. That's probably the peripheral thing that with a bit of funding, a person could create that kind of back end for him or whatever. But all I'm saying is that I think the spark of Decentraland shouldn't add baggage onto like visionaries who are going to define the moon. But and like actually Ben say, it could easily be like hampered by having other relationships, other business. The more things he's involved with, the less game engine he's going to be able to implement. The thing. That's all I'm saying, and I think that
it makes sense because I was working with Ben's with the Moonshot event, and I was trying to help tie up anything that he was too busy to do, just like with marketing and stuff. But he was just doing marketing really well. Like he honestly didn't need any of my help. He was doing the videos on like A+ quality, the marketing videos, marketing images, the banners, and the 3D stuff. He was doing everything himself. And it was like every day there'd be like all this new stuff that he'd do, and I'd be like, "Does this guy ever sleep? Surely there's more people than just this one dude that's doing all this."
Right.
But
I think the answer is he wasn't sleeping.
Yeah, but maybe the magic is that it was his baby, and then he could make the whole thing the way that he wanted to. And
I think that's also it's also like the nature of a developer. I see it in Corv too.
Yep.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys who literally gets 3-4 hours of sleep a day. Somehow he could function off of that.
Because he's developing his thing, like all the way, So it's passion. Yeah, exactly. And that's the only way you're gonna have somebody that puts that kind of work in for someone it's because they're doing their own thing, So you got to build the thing around them, So you build the machine around them, let's say the whole commentary piece of thing that we had going on, build that around it. You build the marketing outside of that around it, like the whatever the commercials, and you add Toonpunk to the situation, and he's adding like, okay, Decentraland's part of this. We add the jerseys, that's a part of it now. Like this is how you build the machine around it, So to me, that's kind of how I think Moonshot worked out, and how Moonshot would work out is you let Benz keep doing it, but then you just like
Moonshot had a really good the perfect measure of people involved, in the sense that we had us, the community, doing the getting together the teams and making the content and getting it heard out there on Twitter. Then we had Benz working on the game, doing his genius stuff, and then we had Sam basically getting DCL on board and providing this support. So those three things was just like the perfect combination.
That's what I'm saying.
For the whole thing. So
Right. And I think, in order to make it scalable, it's great that we had that event. That event was awesome. We need that kind of stuff to continue. We need to ride that momentum, keep it scalable. And, I think when you have one passionate creator, that's what we need right now. But we
need the superstars.
Right. We got to be thinking about how do we take that and scale it? How do we give them the support they need? Well, the support they need. I mean, if they don't need any support, they don't need any support. If it's Ben saying he could do everything and he's comfortable doing everything and he indefinitely wants to do everything, then he should. He should do everything. But for those, of the future Steve Jobs Steve Jobs didn't do it himself. He had thousands and thousands of people working for him.
That's what I'm saying. Even if Ben's wanted to do it himself, you wouldn't want him to do it himself. You still want him to have somebody around him that can do things, at his, almost like at his, like, hey, can you make something simple for me, that you can do really easily as well as I could do really easily, but I've got to work on this thing. Okay, cool, yeah, I'll go do that. Stuff like that. It would still be a team around it. But let Benz do the what James was talking about, the genius of like figuring out the weird things that he figured out in order to make that thing happen. Because it was every like in the beginning it didn't run like the end, and it ran like the end because he was like, okay, cool, let me hit that pivot foot and adjust on that on a dime, That was the genius. The genius wasn't about just putting together the game. The game itself was good too, but pivoting like the way he did in order to make it work after it didn't work almost in front of your own eyes, that was huge. That's the whole part of being like the boss of the situation,
So one of the things I reckon is that
bow out here, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Steve, good to see you, man.
Steve. Take care, man.
Thanks so much.
is that like often these things, it's going to be like a one-man band who's got his vision and so on, and then he'll meet a partner, and then that's how people break up. And in the case of Apple, Steve Jobs met Steve Wozniak, and Steve Wozniak was the genius who put it all together. And in the beginning, it was in his garage. He was there building computers, and Steve Jobs was out selling them, and that's how it forms. And I think that in a community like Decentraland, it's the ideal place for people to meet business partners. I tend to have I've got my own working arrangements, and there's a partnership I'm very much in, and we complement each other, and we can make things happen. And most of the projects I'm involved with are a team effort, and I think that everyone will discover that person, because normally someone will think they'll just want to dive in and help, and the true partner will help. They won't be a baggage. They'll basically
they bring their part to the table.
They'll actually take all of the things that they can lift off someone else from doing. So I think that's what will happen to Benson. But until then, he's going to be loving it, because I remember 10 years ago, or in fact probably 12 years ago, I was developing Facebook applications with Toonpunk, and we used to we had there was one month where we literally just lived in my kitchen for a month, and we literally were just working around the clock. We were sleeping on the couch whenever, and we were just rolling out app after app after app as the early days of Facebook. It was mostly attacks. It was mostly throwaway stuff. But we had a few diamond things in there. But we bounced off each other. So and I think that's what everyone in Decentraland needs. So I would just urge that if a developer's overwhelmed, then there's probably a non-developer kind of yin to their yang type thing. I think that's maybe that for me is how we'll actually grow here.
Right.
But yeah, I know it's awesome. I can't wait to see what Benson produces next.
And even, that kind of playing off of that, the fact that he has already produced something, and he is working on something new, and I know he's working on something new, like the ability and the incentive to take what he's already created and build off of that, to the extent he wants that, right? Obviously it's his creation, but creating a market of having that other side of the market. You have the people developing the games, and for someone who wants to market, promote, and run the game. I think that sort of ecosystem would be great too, because someone could then take Moonshot, which is already a viable creation, see the market potential, see the potential to expand it, and then kind of build the infrastructure around it, and reward Bensei, pay him in some way or work out some deal, but really spearhead bringing it to the community. And then you have kind of Bensei gets to do his next thing, and he's got the funding to do his next thing, and he's got the resources to do his next thing, So I think, because short of getting some of the big studios to come into this space who can, throw 30 or 40 developers at a single project, maybe less, but short of that, when you're dealing with developers who this is their livelihood, there does have to be some sort of monetary incentive other than maybe, the $1,000, $2,000 a month that the team or other people who are funding can provide. And so if there are people who are taking these games and monetizing them, I think that would really create an opportunity for the developers to really flourish.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely want to, because even with me, I'm not doing Moonshot again unless they pay me. You know what I'm saying? That shit was a lot, straight up. And Iman, I tell you, even and Iman got sick in the middle, but it was long, man. That shit was it started to wear on you, And as much as it's let's say a labor of love, I loved hanging out with all the guys. I feel like things came out from that, but I was exhausted, man. And I had all that time I wasn't able to work on any of my own projects, and I didn't even realize until the end. I was like, wait a minute, I have projects. I'm doing my own shit too, So I was like, again, if I was gonna do Moonshot again, I'd be asking for money.
No, that's understandable, and I think what you said earlier, Clark, about how to expand. Right now, it's you build these games and host these events around them. I think from a developer's perspective is trying to figure out how to make a more persistent gaming experience in Decentraland, where there's an incentive for a player to log in every single day in order to progress at this game. You know, for the end goal of it is to participate in this annual event, you know, but you spent the whole year as a player, as a gamer, you know, building up whatever attributes it is to help perform better in this annual event. If you could build that type of a gaming mechanic into this moonshot experience, that's when you have legitimate, like, esports athletes. You know what I mean? Just like a gamer spends all year 8 hours a day playing the same game, and then they have the big tournament, like a big Dota tournament or something.
It's at the end of a grind, basically. Yeah. On some level. Yeah. Like, you know, whether one way or another. Yeah. It's at the end of some sort of group of achievements, and it's the large achievement. You know.
Yeah. Or have a league. You know, a league that culminates in a World Cup, just like regular soccer.
Absolutely.
You know, have weekly games. Have, you know, that type of.
But again,
that's.
Yeah, I think it was proven in that game that there's definite like variance as far as skill levels go. Like, there were people playing in the moonshot game who were better than others. So it's as simple as starting a league. Maybe there's like a new game that organizes every week or something like that. And it's just like
he's got the fastest ping.
It really was, yeah. I know, James. It had a lot to do with that. But, you know, like, it was actually. Then you look at, like, Talk, right? Talk found a way to do that air kick thing that I kept saying about, right? And even though it was like, I don't know, like, it was kind of a thing that he figured out how to do, it was he played, like, literally, if everybody else played 5 games, he played 50. You know, he played in every odd game that was, you know, every practice game. He played in every single weird, you know, we need a player game. And then he found this weird air kick thing, you know, where the ball fell from the sky and he was able to kick it over there on your side of the field, and then you lived on your side of the field. And, you know, I noticed that as the person that was calling every single game. I was like, yo, this dude talks at every game. And then he found the air kick. And then, like, I say, like, 3/4 way through the competition, he was untouchable because he found the air kick. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
That's basically the same thing as having a skill, you know what I mean? Like, straight up. Yeah, so I don't know. What's up, buddy?
I think we can do it.
I'm sorry, Matty. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, the game development part it's definitely happening. Like, that moonshot event, like you were saying, Clark. Like, these are inspirational moments, I guess, for other developers, because that's what motivated Core to start focusing on multiplayer experiences.
On the crypto zombies is the easiest game.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's other developers out there. They're maybe not as public as what Corv is doing. They're probably thinking the same thing, because everybody understands multiplayer is where it's at. Like, that's where
that's how we're gonna get mad
is.
People up in here. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
definitely.
So now
I think that's when Decentraland needs to run those competitions, right? Based on multiplayer games. We should kind of drive on what we.
Well, the thing is, we can do so much more than just competitions, Matty. We can do competitions, yeah, but think about, like, okay, let's say in a larger scale, right? Moonshot, and then you take Moonshot, and then all the things we were talking about. Then you could literally make it like almost like a Decentraland carnival, where you're like, all right, Moonshot's in the middle. Almost every single person has like a representation of what they do around the stadium, and everything's happening. And then it would be like a all day, every day event for a while, you know, and then times that by 100, and then basically that's Decentraland.
Are you guys
there should be
watching
also a way to automatically distribute prizes as well, so if you win X amount, kind of like Axie,
there's
right?
There's
you
Battle Down.
You claim
there's
your SLP.
Yeah, there's Battle Down. You can link with those people and make that happen. That wouldn't be. That's not even an issue. That can just happen.
I see DCL as being a place you go in and you spend your time, and there's opportunity everywhere. You decide where and how you want to spend your money. So, like, right now, you go into Axie, you play some Axie, you win some SLP. But with Decentraland, you can go in, host events, run events, get some tips, or you can play some games and win some tournaments, trade some stuff on the NFT trading place. Yeah,
there definitely should be something more as far as the moving of finance one way or the other, and you know, for things done.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
see that Mana just
something
hit
done.
837 sats.
What's this?
Yeah, I've got it in my background.
Yeah.
Jeez. Wow.
Oh yeah, Mana's almost at Matty Moon level.
Almost at 10 cents.
Yeah, Matty's almost on Mars right now.
I feel like we couldn't. Well, one thing we didn't really talk too much. I know we've gone for a while now.
Yeah.
But we didn't talk about kind of how this mooning and Mana is going to affect the other in Decentraland markets. I know that that's something that a lot of people were talking about today, and kind of you saw a lot of land getting listed at lower Mana prices, but probably much higher fiat prices than they were 2 weeks ago. And
good for the people who are putting them at those prices. That's how I look at it.
I've had a piece of land for sale for like the last couple weeks, and as the price has gone up, I've slowly been lowering it. I don't really know if that's the smart thing to do. It just kind of made sense, right? Because like if someone wasn't willing to pay me,
I know what you're saying. Like if you're looking at it in fiat terms, but you staked that Mana in order to buy that land. So did you want? More,
I've been holding on to it for definitely more than a year.
What I'm saying though is, did you want more fiat? Did you want more Mana for that? You know, it's up to you to decide on that thing. Eh?
Mm-hmm. I think Matty, you probably have an opinion on it too. But I think that when I've bought land and wearables, I've always thought about them as fiat purchases because it's a much more stable asset. So my view has always been, if this platform pops, Mana is going to outperform the other markets because it's more of a stable asset. NFTs are a stable asset. You can trade them in other currencies. It's less of a reflection. I think, and they're very disjointed. You know, the Mana is going to pump because of investor excitement. It's going to pump for different reasons than land and NFTs will.
It really depends on where the cash injection comes from. If it comes from to the land market, if suddenly someone spends $1 million on the land market, and you better believe that thing's going to go nuts. But for me, it's been this dynamic I've been exploring for the last year and 2-3 years, and seeing how everything's related. And the way I see it is investing with Decentraland land specifically. It was. You're going to be benefiting on the slow growth of the land market increasing in value in terms of Mana, because that's what happens as supply obviously gets less and less, and it increases in Mana. But you're going to have those fluctuations where Mana goes nuts and it affects those prices. It might bring it down in the short term, but overall it's a slow increase in Mana. But I think either way, fiat-wise, you're good. So it depends on how and what's important to you. For me, that's why I've tried to keep a bit liquid, because for me, both things are important. I need my fiat, but I also need a good crypto BTC portfolio. So it's hard to win both the times. Like ideally, I'd want to be in all liquid Mana right now. I'm not, but you never know where the tide's going to shift. Right. You definitely, I personally wouldn't feel comfortable being too heavy on NFTs at the moment, just because.
Well, obviously, because Mana's mooning.
Yeah. But at the same time,
my thought process on like buying wearables is always like, I'm getting more Mana for that. I don't give a fuck, and that's how I feel about that. And I just like, unless Mana goes to like 30 cents and sits there, you know. But just because something goes up, even 100% doesn't mean it can't come back another 50, 75%.
Honestly speaking, like we've seen the most volume with Decentraland when Mana was 10 to 15 cents.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
what I'm saying, because
when it goes up really fast or goes down really fast, we'll see those small dumps. So there's people trying to sell to cash out their fiat because they've been money starved for a year. But then there's people that are just chilling. Well, they're not going to sell. So
So it's about what you want. I know I want more Mana for my stuff. So at the end of the day, I'm not coming up off of nothing for less Mana than I paid for it.
I think that makes sense, Franky. But I think if today you wanted to sell land, right, and you asked, okay, what is a fair price for this land? A week ago,
care about fair.
It was. Well, but I'm saying you want to sell it, right? So you gotta care because someone's got to buy it, right? So if you want to sell it, and a week ago it was worth $10,000, which translated, let's just say to 100,000 Mana, let's just say, and then Mana doubles, that doesn't necessarily mean that the land market also doubled, right? So it might still be worth $10,000. So you might have to take, half as much mana.
I guess if you see, I look at that as desperate to sell as opposed to wanting to sell. That's the way I look at that.
Yeah. I guess I'm just saying you want to enter into a transaction, right? And you're just trying to figure out what is the value.
If you need to sell today, you're desperate to sell. Because if you don't understand,
but I also think
your land is worth a certain thing into the future, then wearables included.
If you've got your land listed for 100,000 mana, which is $10,000, and mana doubles, then you're probably it's not exact. The math doesn't check out exactly in the sense that your land will probably go up to $12,000.
You just touched it,
right.
Or $15,000.
We just
I agree. I mean, and that's that.
You just touched sense. It. 10 cents.
Oh, did it hit?
Yeah, it just touched, baby. Come on, man. Right on the broadcast. That's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Congratulations, everybody on the panel, everybody in the building. You must be kidding me.
Does a stronger mana value do good for you, James, in terms of your development or funding or anything like that, or whatever you see? Does it help you?
Yeah, I mean I suppose on one hand, for example, actually in the case of our token sales, actually it's been the ETH uplift that's probably been more helpful to us as opposed to our tokens sold in that. But for example, we tend to if we've got crypto, it tends to be held in mana. So obviously we have to pay our bills in dollars. I pay our 3D modeler in US dollars.
Nice.
So obviously I tend not to hold. But it's not mana specifically. I think in that case, because some tokens we list in mana, others we list in ETH. We have a fairly we're not selling a huge amount, but we have enough to cover some basic modeling costs, coming in.
Yeah.
But also, from my perspective, I've had a lot more inquiries in the last few days as mana's been pumping. So for example, we had a new guy buy into the Flamingos Casino today, and then he's interested he's interested in developing. Working with us to develop another property in Vegas. Nothing to do with gambling, just he would like to have something else going near the Flamingo. So I think that there's a big confidence factor, as mankind, the crypto community, looking at it, thinking, well, that looks reasonably safe. I think the key bit is when you look at the historical sort of graph, is that the longer this kind of step. A trend increases, and even if it levels off, the more confident people are going to have that it's like a genuine hodlers buying in who want to own a piece of the ecosystem, and not what we've seen because occasionally we see a spike and then a big dip. This feels more like when we've been at a 10 cents for a sustained period. It's approached that really solidly to me. So I'm hopeful that this is kind of our baseline for a while, that it's finding its feet again, and really
hope so. We've never really done this before, going straight from 4 cents to 10 cents in a pretty. I mean, it's gone straight up, but it's done it in 3 to 4 days, right? It hasn't just done it in one day.
I don't think we've seen quite like this since November, December 2017. It did it.
But mostly it's done it. Wasn't
during that time auction? That's what I'm saying. It wasn't.
There's always been a reason for it. This is the first time.
This is
the first time it's a natural, organic. I hope so. Organic kind of just.
Yeah.
I don't know. But you're right, James, and that's something I was exploring in a conversation I was having with some other communities as to what the mana price does and how it affects the people and everything. And as you touched upon the confidence thing, I think that's a big deal because suddenly people are excited to build on Decentraland and invest in things and learn about the platform and join meetups just because the mana price is 10 cents.
It just took off, and you gotta somebody in crypto always respects a moonshot. It's the truth.
It's the language. It's a language of the wider crypto community.
It's the truth. There's a reason why, like we were talking earlier about Chico Crypto going on and live streaming Decentraland today. There's a reason for that. I mean, he understands the lingo. Moon, lingo.
It's a very easy language.
Moon. You know, moon soon. You know.
Yeah, it's just it caters to his audience mostly.
Yeah.
You know,
It caters to the whole crypto audience, is it in general?
Yeah.
You know,
It's
so
like 80% of the audience cares about that. Pretty much, right?
Yeah. I mean, 80% about the crypto audience, you know, that's what it is. We sit here and work on Decentraland all day, and
we're that 20%.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I'm saying. We're the ones that exactly. We're not going nowhere. We were here 2.5 cents in the winter, in the cold winter, the cold winter,
the cold winter, yeah.
For real. But the rest of the community is worried about when moon, soon moon, you know.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool because even without this moon activity, we were pretty solid and excited for Decentraland. So I can just imagine.
We've been doing our thing.
You know.
We've been doing well.
Yeah.
It's not bad. So, we'll see if it holds. I mean, it's hard to hold something like this. It's hard to hold a shot like this. This is a shot you really don't hold. Nothing holds a shot like this.
3 or 4 times, I think, in Mana's history, and 2 of them can be written off to like bugs and stuff. So it's never held. So let's see. I'm hoping that this is the time.
No, look at the weekly chart. You cannot hold something like that. That's one of the more ridiculous thing. Like you can't hold
like
something like that.
Green candle. It's a little frightening when you look at it on the chart now.
On the weekly, you can look at it on the daily and it feels all right. Look at it on the weekly. It don't feel all right.
I mean, it almost always falls back to 60% of what it gained. So
even 100% sometimes. Goes right back down to the start.
Engulfing candle, they call it. Yeah.
But I don't think we're getting back to 4, to be honest, unless BTC or Bitcoin or
I think we're in that season, the bull season, and also we've been doing really well with our own platform. Like you can't discount what we've been doing with our platform, but at the same time, it's like in combination with bull season,
Yeah, so these markets don't perform rationally. They don't behave rationally at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I order one of own.
The foundation burned 300 million mana, and there was barely any reaction from the market. So when I saw that, I'm
this
like,
ain't no reaction. This is a reaction. Hey guys, no, but we've been going for an hour and a half or even more, and Will would be on my case right now if I didn't say we should cut it. So I got to give a big shout out to Will because he's got some family things going on, but we wanted to, I've got to cut it at an hour and a half.
Keep it
awesome, super awesome. Just the whole day has been great. The whole last couple weeks, months been great, and I really appreciate everybody that came by, and everybody that's in the Gamers Hub Discord hanging out with us. We do this every week. The DCLCore Weekly Roundtable. So, James, thank you so much for coming by and hanging out and giving us your wisdom, man. Shit,
thanks,
man.
James.
100%. Always good to talk to you, and thank you for helping me out earlier, learning some Blender. Yeah.
No worries. Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
See you later,
guys.
Bye.
See ya.